We're in a lot of trouble because you people and 62 million other Americans are listening to me right now, because less than 3% of you people read books, because the only truth you know is what you get over this tube. Right now, there is an entire generation that never knew anything that didn't come out of this tube. But you people sit there day after day, night after night, all ages, colors, creeds. We're all you know. You're beginning to believe the illusions we're spinning here. You're beginning to think that the tube is reality and that your own lives are unreal. You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube. You eat like the tube. You raise your children like the tube. You even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion.
Many people are not aware that when you watch television, you are watching a program produced by a large multinational corporation that has enormous conflicts of interest.
General Electric and NBC is a perfect example. How can we be sure we're going to get the kind of information we need to have about the nuclear industry, about defense contracts, and all of those things when NBC is beholden to this parent company?
Joining me now from Austin, Texas, is radio host Alex Jones. And Alex, we just heard this report, something that kind of stuck out to me. Broadcaster Laura Flanders said, "We can't be reliant on military contractors GE to bring us our news about the war." Do you agree with this idea, that objectivity is just not possible?
Well, it's not possible, and it's not just that General Electric of course, has a huge multi-billion-dollar per month stake in these wars that have cost over $1 trillion in the last 9 years to continue. It also came out 3 months ago that part of the secret banker bailout, the Federal Reserve bailout to foreign banks, also was to foreign corporations, and billions and billions of dollars to U.S. corporations, namely General Electric and its subsidiary MSNBC and NBC. So that's another issue, is that you have the old dinosaur media now owned by 5 or maybe 6 mega conglomerates, and they're really teaming up with the government and getting secret payments. So this came out 5 years ago. Famous cases of reporters being given hundreds of thousands of dollars apiece by the Bush administration. Armstrong Williams was one of the famous instances to go out and promote new federal initiatives that Bush was pushing. And this really exploded under Clinton, expanded under Bush, and has now just gone into warp speed under Barack Obama.
In close to 11 years, we've done more than 100 reports. They're reports and investigations about public servants screwing up or systemic abuses of the public trust by public officials. Almost always get covered. We're the ones that broke the Lincoln bedroom scandal about the Clinton White House. We've done a lot of this kind of thing. When we do those stories, they get covered and the media jumps on them, frankly. We have a news conference. We normally have 50 or 60 reporters, 4 or 5 cameras. But I have to tell you, when we've investigated corporations, for some reason it just doesn't get covered.
So it's not just that you have these 5 to 6 mega corporations that have all these other corporate subsidiaries and they won't report on things that put them in a bad light. You have direct government payments of taxpayer money secretly being funneled to them.
The level and quality of information available to the public. They clearly are wildly misled today by a propaganda apparatus that is associated with the entertainment industry. I mean, that dominates it for commercial and commercial reasons, commercial profit, from Fox News to Verizon's control of CBS, GE's control of NBC, Disney's control of ABC. There's hardly a word put out on it that you can believe. Prudent people no longer believe what they hear. That is, the spokesman for the Department of Justice comes out and says, we have our highest priority is to maintain constitutional liberties. Well, obviously, anybody who's paid any attention in the United States in the last 2 years knows that the direct opposite is true.
So many many of these networks and TV stations and newspapers, they're all sort of under one umbrella. So does this make it better for us or worse for us?
Well, it clearly makes it worse. And Google, it's now been admitted, was basically set up by the NSA 12 years ago with CIA funding through In-Q-Tel. Of course, I knew that 6 years ago. It had been declassified, but now it's all over U.S. News, the headlines: Google NSA secret ties, under microscope, congressional inquiries. And now Google has announced that they're going to start filtering all the alternative, exploding media websites and foreign news outlets that are becoming so popular because they give a different perspective. Doesn't mean they don't have agendas, but there's a different perspective. And so now they're announcing the internet kill switch, FCC regulation over the internet. Senator Jay Rockefeller in one of the key committees says we would have been better off without the internet. So instead of just having something where the Egyptians shut the internet off in 5 minutes, like they did today, we have this slow strangling of the internet because the old dinosaur mega media is losing credibility and it's a government mouthpiece. And so they're now moving in with a perfect storm to restrict free speech. The internet is in danger.
We, the people, want television to become the best tool for mass education and publicity. We want the mainstream media to be an integral part of messaging what the new global revolution is all about. We want it to be used to drive change for the freedom of all on our planet.
Such a great moment of flux and change, and the energies are rising in every way, shape, and form. At the same time, however, energies are also coming up within each of us for our own personal healing to help us move forward. My name is Jeffrey West. I am the anchor for Cosmic Vision News, an online radio news program that offers the alternative news in a galactic and spiritual perspective.
We want media to become the people's media, used to inform the public on all common interests, so we can engage everyone to participate in decisions for the good of all. We demand a trustworthy media with established new media protocols and guidelines that all information presented must enhance the value of life. We want to create a new local social network where relevant topics are discussed, shared, and communities organized. The truth must be told to the masses about all corruption that has enslaved humanity. We need the new paradigm media to communicate the Abundance Program in their various implementation stages.
Really, we're looking at changing our governance structures, our corporate and business structures, and our basic beliefs, or our religious or spiritual beliefs about life.
There must be immediate relief from hunger, homelessness, sickness, and immediate visible action, reported on all media many times a day, of healing of the oceans, forests, air, and all across humanity.
I walked away from the broadcasting industry many years ago in order to honor my morals and my ethics. I was not willing to play that game those years ago, and I said I'm not going to come back to this industry until I can do my program on my terms and really make it meaningful for humanity.
Through media, people will embrace the new global revolution and respond to the call for community participation.
Cosmic Vision News aims to be a foundation of journalism, to help send a message to those who are in the media industry, to hopefully courageously show them that, yes, they can step forward if they choose to bring the kind of news, not only that the world is seeking and wanting, but really that the world needs to hear.
Ariel Peach, and I, among many things, have been holding space for the global shift and the Great Awakening, and by the use of media as well as telepathic communication and being an activator are some of the ways that I'm participating and engaging with this global conscious evolution. So basically, I was awakened in '87 with a very detailed, clear transmission. I didn't know what it was at the time, but it was a transmission of information from my higher self and guides. And I was told while I was in a personal development seminar why I was on the planet, why the doors to Hollywood had opened without me even trying, because I thought when I moved to LA at the ripe age of 20 and a country bumpkin that I was going to be a cop. And that all changed. I was here to utilize the media to support people in having experiential awakenings and ahas like I was experiencing in this personal development seminar. And so I went through the next decade, more actually, almost about 16 years, working in production, doing commercials and films and music videos, and all the while also simultaneously having a very proactive conscious awakening and trying to also get conscious media off the ground. Do you feel the energy shift?
Oh, yes.
My name is Charlotte Thompson-Isserbade, and I served as Senior Policy Advisor in the United States Department of Education under the Reagan administration, during which I had access to all of the most important documents for the restructuring of not only American education but global education. For the restructuring of not only American education but global education. And luckily, there was a big book that came with the in-service training called Innovations in Education, A Change Agent's Guide. And I was able to take that back home with me. Unbelievable examples of how to con the Christians and different people who are upset with what you're trying to do, how to bring them over to your side. Case studies, true case studies of educators who had put programs in that normally, you know, in a normal American town, nobody would want them. How did they manage to get them in? How did they con the people?
What your government pays for, it gets. When we understand that, then we look at government-financed institutions of education and see the kind of students and the kind of education that's being turned out by these government-financed schools. Logic will tell you that if what is being turned out in those schools was not in accord with what the state and the federal government wanted, then it would change it. The bottom line is that the government is getting what they have ordered. They do not want your children to be educated. They do not want you to think too much. That is why our country and our world has become so proliferated with entertainments, mass media, television shows, amusement parks, drugs, alcohol, and every kind of entertainment to keep the human mind entertained, so that you don't get in the way of important people by doing too much thinking. You had better wake up and understand that there are people who are guiding your life and you don't even know it.
I have to get this over to people. This is not systematic at the level of, you know, people who administer it into reality. It is coldly calculated in the shadowy areas where these concepts first come from. Yeah. And they know what they're doing.
So I was taught really how to con the community.
If you sat around a table and you said, right, what we need to do is we need to find some way of getting young people to see the world the way we want them to see it, so that by the time they become adults, they are completely following the reality we want them to believe in.
The original program was funded by what would subsequently become my office. It was funded by the Office of Research in the U.S. Office of Education, because it was funded early on, about the late 60s. Still funded, by the way. And the money went to the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor to a professor by the name of Ronald Havelock. And he was the one that put together the whole training, the whole seminar, the book. And in the back of the book you had, they admitted it, right in the back of the book, they had about 100 major change agents listed from all over the country. Some of them I recognize, some I still don't, but some I do. And so this was a very important project.
Don't get stuck to the old school teachings that people have told us in schools. I think first and foremost, the schools, what they're teaching should be deleted out completely. I think they are just teaching us crap. And they're teaching our kids crap, and then finally we're creating a society full of crap. That's what's happening. That's what is going on. We're trying to fix the world. We've got this amazing ideal, but the schools, our kids go to school every single day. They bring back so much information. They don't tell us what they've learned in school. But when we go through the textbooks, because I've learned in school and I know everything that I'd learned in school right now stands absolutely trashable material.
The purpose of education is to change the thoughts, actions, and feelings of students.
But the teachers need a lot of help, and the kids need a lot of help. It takes all of us, not just the teachers, the parents, principals, and the neighborhood.
Just to give you an idea of how blatant they are, Benjamin Bloom can take a student from here to there, from a belief in God or his country or whatever, to being an atheist and not believing in his country in 1 hour.
We had to pay. We had 3 kids in college at one time. Ooh. And it was a killer for us. And we both were. She only graduated a year ago, and we still have to pay for her loans because what she gets paid after graduating, and she has a good job, is not enough. She can't pay for her loans.
I work in the publishing industry. Yeah. Graphic design. I had a lot of fun in college, 4-year program at a private school, so it was expensive. But yeah, I can't afford my student loans.
Wouldn't you think that you can make enough to pay off your loans and live?
My name is Stephen Round, and I am a 2nd grade teacher in the Providence School Department. I wished to read this letter of resignation to you. I believe that my goal as an educator should be the creation of lifelong learners. I must provide children with an educational experience that is both rewarding and enjoyable. Therefore, it is important for students to understand how the knowledge received in the classroom will benefit them in the real world. My determination to be creative and open-minded enough to try new approaches to teaching. Ha! The powers that be say that if it isn't in the accepted curriculum and done at the appropriate time, it can't be used. Why, I was even prohibited from tutoring my neediest students, my so-called dyslexic students, on my own time and after school. Not just once, but twice in 2 separate schools. These parents were happy that their children were finally reading. The students were happy to know that they really weren't stupid. But Chief Academic Officer Shannon would rather see these 9 children fail than do something not specifically prescribed in this one-size-fits-all curriculum. I've had it. I quit. I would rather leave my secure $70,000 job with benefits and tutor in Connecticut for free than be part of a system that is diametrically opposed to everything I believe education should be.
I'm interested on a global level. I think all of us, based on our ethnic backgrounds or whatever, we have our hearts are close to wherever our roots were. But I'm thinking on a larger scale, education is probably the greatest cure for bigotry, hatred, ignorance. And if I had a choice of things to do, I would want to have some kind of global educational initiative where we would start with very young children and teach them that we aren't as different as adults would have us think that we are. And if you can start with that, I think you can nip a lot of potential problems in the bud before they ever happen.
Free education.
Yes.
To help those in poverty get out of poverty.
Yeah, and make sure everyone gets an equal start. But you have to pay to go to a really good school.
We had to pay to go to university.
Yeah, and they've just raised all the fees by the triple.
Triple the
fees.
Tripled?
Yeah, it was £3,000 a year and we've just finished. So it's now £9,000 a year.
And do you have debt?
Yes. About 30. We don't have to pay it off yet though until we're earning over a certain amount.
Oh, right. So you've got around £30,000 of debt?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. And then
now that it's 9,000.
Now that it's 9,000, they're not changing anything. No, you're not getting any more. You're not getting more hours, or as long as they're all right, they're not going to do anything about it.
We the people want education to be free, high quality, and available to all. We want to teach and learn about the truth about our true history, protection of our environment, free energy and new technology. We want to teach all humanity about our carbon footprint, the golden age, spirituality, and responsible financial management. We want to share information about the role each member plays in our collective society and why each role is important to the whole. We want education to be based on alternative teaching methods, individual interests in development, creativity, life enhancement, and justice and fairness where all are equal. We feel that there should be no systematic separation in living, learning, sharing, and mentoring. We want to abolish government-mandated curriculum or testing, false information in our curriculum or textbooks, bureaucracy, politics, or red tape in our schools. Education is the most important factor in the transformation of humanity after the end of misery. Education must be an integral part of humanity to ensure development of everyone's fullest potential and capacity to take care of self.
Hi, I'm John Ray Gutierrez, and I'm the creator of the Dust Bunnies. So let me tell you a little bit about them. First of all, welcome to my office. It's a closet. That's okay. Someday it'll be big. The Dust Bunnies is an animated series for the 4 to 7-year-old child, and it's designed to empower children through mindful wellness. Each episode will give children techniques of mindful awareness, showing them how to pay attention to what is happening within them, while empowering them through fun exercises, songs, and games, guided by, guess who? The Dust Bunnies. So I play tennis, and I have a tennis coach. I'm not that good, obviously, because I'm still living here, but I'm okay. And I had confided with my tennis coach about my son, who was kind of having a little bit coping fears and coping issues. He's just a little fella. At the time, he was only 4 or 5. And I asked for his advice, and he actually had this training technique. He called it oopsie. But it was basically paying attention to attention. And it came from that whole mindful wellness movement. And he told me about it, so I went home and I researched a little bit more about mindful wellness, and I found there was tons of organizations about it, and books, and I read a few, and wow. I started applying the mindful wellness techniques to my child, and he had a complete turnaround. It was amazing. So then I went back to, I've been working on the Dust Bunnies. The whole original structure of the Dust Bunnies was collaboration and teamwork. But there's a lot of cartoons like that now. And I started thinking, hey, if I could apply mindful wellness to my cartoon, I could potentially help a lot more children out there that are having difficulties just coping with everyday situations, or even coping with terrible situations. Kids nowadays are just stressed out, but they really don't have the necessary tools, I should say, to be able to cope with these situations. And it's not their fault. We're never taught that that the mind and the body is significant. We are, in a sense, taught it, but not really, not in a mindful wellness kind of approach. What better than to use the Dust Bunnies as a way of spreading the word of this mindful wellness, and maybe teaching kids techniques and how to use this to handle the pressures of being a kid, and hopefully beyond. We want to build confidence and self-esteem that will last for a lifetime.
We've been looking, but there's nothing much to. It's not like we haven't tried to find.
We, the people, want the option to choose all healing modalities without having to travel to another country for alternative options beyond surgery and drugs. We want accessible health information regarding non-invasive healing practices like homeopathy, cell salts, juicing, deep breathing. We want clean drinking water free from all chemicals. We want to redirect funding of pharmaceutical and medical research into building healing centers all over the planet and ensure their accessibility to all. These healing centers will be based on the use of music, sacred geometry, and color to heal the body and bring about higher states of consciousness and a peace of mind. We want Maharishi Vedic, organic, and biodynamic agricultural practices for pure and healthy food that is grown according to natural universal laws, nourishing the body and creating harmony and peace for the soul. We want widespread information regarding food preparation techniques for optimum health. We want alternative wellness remedies and solutions to be readily available to everyone. For we, the people, deserve a healthy body that brings forth a healthy mind and supports optimum brain function. In return, a clear mind and well-developed intuition will always choose healthy foods, nourishing more advanced levels of mind and body.
Could you tell me what the sign says on the back?
It says Occupy Pharmaceutical Companies. That has to do with anticholinergic syndrome, which is poisoning by medication. One medication gave me a stroke. Another medication almost killed me a second time. So I've gone holistic, I'm healthier and happier. And we didn't get through all these millennia because we had doctors and pharmaceutical corporations. So that's my new thing that I'm trying to tell people about. You know, you need to get back to nature in a real kind of way.
Yes.
Right?
First of all, I don't know why there's not cures for all these diseases. I have MS, and they don't do anything for you.
The Food and Drug Administration is the FDA, and the USDA is the United States Department of Agriculture. The problem with the FDA is that they're in bed with the USDA and the government, corporations like Monsanto, and they allow countless chemicals to be distributed throughout our society. So if you brushed your teeth and washed your hair this morning and took a shower and put on makeup, if you're using commercial products that are approved by the FDA, you have just ingested many chemicals. Sodium lauryl sulfate, which is also an industrial degreaser. Propylene glycol, which is an ingredient used in antifreeze and brake fluid. Polyethylene glycol, which is also an oven cleaner, and they have recently put it in some of the over-the-counter laxatives, such as, I believe it's Mylanta. Formaldehyde, which of course we know is an embalming fluid, and fragrance oils, which we think smell nice, but a fragrance oil is really about 200 plus chemicals, synthetic chemicals, that are added to make it smell like a strawberry or a mango or whatever. As a health practitioner, I see clients, and I wanted to tell you one story about a little girl that I was working with. She was 6 years old when she came to me, and she was very ill. She had multiple chemical sensitivities, which is not recognized by the medical establishment. What that is somewhere along the line she had intense exposure to some kind of chemical and became saturated with it. So she was very, very sensitive to any kind of chemicals. Her mother, since she was 2 years old, was taking her to doctors and just ran the gamut of hospitals and specialists, and a lot of what they were doing for her was making her constipated. So instead of giving her fiber, because that's a supplement that the alternative health community is fond of, they took a piece of her rectum out. She was 2 years old. So the FDA approves all of these chemicals, but condemns food products and supplements that are intrinsically healthy, as well as vaccines that are very harmful to humans, using its governmental power to censor the truth, because these compete with big pharma. For example, the Codex Alimentarius is our food industry takeover.
In my opinion, we don't really have a healthcare system in the United States and most of the world. We have a disease management system. The powers that be, as embodied in the large pharmaceutical companies, don't really want us to be healthy. It's too hard to control healthy, intelligent people. And it doesn't pay very well either. They want us to subsist on one or more pills taken every day for the rest of our lives. Expensive pills that the government they have bought will pay them full price to buy, or will mandate insurance companies to pay full price for. I don't know that the medical mafia system can be repaired, at least not at the moment. But what I suggest is that we bypass the existing medical system. We create a new healing system of our own, that we learn how to heal ourselves and our families. We should take advantage of simple healing technologies, from low-tech, like nutrition and herbs, to high-tech, like the Skinar, or Dr. Duran's biomagnetic pairs. We can do this at home with little or no training. and we'll get better results than we would get with the establishment doctors, of which I used to be one. And for health problems that are more acute or outside of our ability to handle, emergencies and stuff like that, then let us build integrated healing centers with the best of scientific medicine and the best of intuitive healing, traditional healing, mind-body medicine, homeopathy, traditional and herbal therapies, shamanic practices, etc., etc. When I was in practice, I always tried to work with an acupuncturist for the energetic aspects of healing, osteopaths or chiropractors and massage therapists to make sure that that body was structurally aligned, and then I worked on the biochemical aspects of healing myself. And let us establish these centers outside of the federal regulatory system by establishing them as private clubs under the common law. Under the U.S. Constitution, the federal government has no jurisdiction over matters of commerce which do not cross state lines. And the states don't have any power to infringe on private contracts. I also have a model for a total health care payment system, which we could all subscribe to decrease costs and then share the costs that we do have for more expensive therapies and operations that we and our neighbors might need. It's called Good Neighbor Health Share, and it's modeled after a system used by the Mennonites for more than 60 years now. As for fixing the medical system, we need to stop empowering the controllers and start taking back the responsibility for our own health. In Italy, right now, the people are having public demonstrations about making stem cells available to treat patients with otherwise untreatable illnesses. And the government is listening and changing the regulations against stem cells. There is an article in Nature Journal in which the medical regulation establishment sounds terrified that there is a breach in the regulations. Well, bravo for Italy. Let's follow them. I hope that the breach in the dike tears down the whole wall. So this is a two-pronged approach. Keep hammering at the walls which protect bad medicine and keep out good medicine, and at the same time create our own healing system as a series of private clubs outside of the federal regulatory system.
My uncle and my aunt both died of cancer, and I now understand that they really did not need to. We know how to solve cancer. We have Dr. Royal Rife was one of the pioneers of that in the 20s and 30s with his technologies, and the laser that I have, the quantum wave laser, embraces frequency through light, and you can literally put in different frequencies into our laser, custom program them, besides the programs that it has to be able to bring forth healing. It has 3 different wavelengths of light. It incorporates red, infrared, and violet, and that's what makes the quantum wave laser different than others, because it has all 3 wavelengths. With the scalar wave technology that's embedded in this device, it helps erase cellular memory. You can have the cells renew themselves without the cellular memory and move past that. One of the other things that this laser has certainly done for me is it allows us to come from a place of polarity into neutrality. And when we do that, we allow ourselves to let go, not only of the cellular memory issues of ourselves, but of emotional stuff. And that's huge. I believe we're moving into energies that are more embracing heart energies rather than mind energies. We need change now.
We, the people, want real food produced from local, sustainable, organic food systems. We no longer will tolerate GMOs and CAFOs. We proclaim our rights to a healthful food supply. We want livestock to live their lives in contentment, to be free to graze in pastures, handled responsibly as sentient beings, and killed humanely. All manufacturers of genetically modified foods, poisons, and harmful chemicals shall cease all operations that negatively impact our food supply. We want to introduce and apply permaculture principles in all communities and broadly initiate Vedic and biodynamic agriculture. We want hydroponically grown fruits and vegetables. We want all our produce picked when ripe for optimal nutrition, original strength, and color. We want to know that the soil our food is grown in contains all trace elements, minerals, and microorganisms for maximum fertility. We want all foods to be free from preservatives, additives, ash, garbage, wood shavings, nitrites, etc. We envision even fast food restaurants offering healthy, organic, fresh foods. We want land in the cities to be kept for community gardens and our schools to educate our children on growing and preparing healthy foods. We call for the complete exposure of the present immoral control of the elite within all sectors of society, but especially on the food we eat. We assert our natural rights to honor the miracle of living systems and raise our voices for a complete and immediate reform of political and monetary considerations of our main source of sustenance on the planet.
But when I initially start to think about the things that are going to make some of the biggest impacts on future generations, it all comes back to the understanding of what things really are. The fact that we are more energy and information, and everything around us is such, just energy and information. And so when we start to perceive our reality as such, then we realize, well, this food that I'm consuming is simply energy and information, and that's going to become who I am at the most fundamental cellular level. And that's one of the most destructive things that we've done as a culture and now kind of push forward onto other nations is the modification of our food, genetic modification of food crops, and what that's doing to not only our brains, but just everything that we touch.
So instead of having a point, how about 2 points and drawing a line, and now you see a relationship. Now draw another point and draw another line. Now there's 2 relationships. Now another point, and now there's several relationships. So you can keep on doing this, and soon you connect every living thing on Earth. And we see how every living thing on Earth is connected to one another. Albert Einstein said if we lose bees, humans will have 4 years left max on Earth. Bees. Okay? And, so when we're eating GMO food, or we're, in California, we're defeating bills that would insist on labeling of GMO foods. And it's the same GMO foods that are killing the butterflies and the bees. Soon there won't be anything to label.
Don't think that we're just a regular restaurant. We're a restaurant and social enterprise focused on changing the world like you are, making change every single day with every choice that we're making. Having a delicious meal affects our health, the way we think. It can awaken us to how we choose to engage in the world. I feel better. I'm more awakened to the world around me. I engage in the things I'm passionate about, and then I can become an activist. And that's what we're hoping, and I think that we're achieving in our Life Alive. There's amazing activists out there that are saving seeds and educating the public, and I'm optimistic that there's more and more of a movement in permaculture to take control of our farming and make it more local. It feels like, these corporations own everything, and yeah, they are extremely powerful, and we can't ignore it, and we have to maintain our activism around it. But we can't disempower the choices that we make every day, and collecting heirloom seeds and protesting with farmers and making sure that you support businesses that really publicize they're not using GMOs. Those are powerful steps that we can take that are making a difference.
Yeah,
even in this godforsaken country sometimes, you know.
Yeah. Do you think that maybe there's going to be, are we waiting for a tipping point in these issues
Yeah, the
or
pendulum.
something?
Sometimes things swing so against that it creates the revolution that we're hoping for. And, you know, I have a 4-year-old child, and I can be like, oh my God, what world is she going to inherit? We're not talking 200 years from now seeing a different world. We're talking about 20 years from now. We're already seeing a different world. You know, bananas might not exist. I mean, there's things on our menu that I'm worried about supplying, and trying to work with local farmers to figure out how can we ensure that these foods still exist 20 years from now. Life Alive's menu was based off of macrobiotics and food combining, so that we don't tax our system as we digest the food. And it's also based on my passion for pleasure and sensuality, and, you know, I believe that there's a lot of suffering in life, and living a full life means embracing it all, the good, the bad, the ugly, the wonderful. And I want to awaken pleasure because it just fortifies us and makes us more excited about living. And so I wanted to combine the therapeutics of macrobiotics with the sensuality and of, you know, multiple cultures. I believe that you have to have green in every meal. It's like green is the most nutrifying, detoxifying, therapeutic thing we can have. And I didn't grow up eating it, and I think most people I know were sort of ew, 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 and it's just like, oh my God, the more I read about it, I was like, we have to have this in every meal. Every meal has to have green. So how can I make green more appetizing and exciting? It was like mixing it with the red of beets that, you know, cleanse the blood, and the orange of carrots that ground us and energize us. And so our food is easily digestible, exciting to eat, and it awakens people's energy and minds and spirits. It's fresh, it's simple. People, when they start either not feeling well or start to get excited about sustainability, there's many different points of entry that people come into nutrition and diet. So you can come either sick, or you can come either excited about food security and sustainability, or you can come into it because you want to lose weight. There's many reasons why people start thinking about their food choices, and to me, I want to sort of reach people on all those levels, where they're at, and then just sort of take away all the stress around it and all the overwhelm, and just be like, this is an exciting adventure. Part of living life is actually engaging in destructive actions anyways. And so I want to say, instead of what you shouldn't eat, here is the abundance of the earth.
We got the crop from our father's sowing. We're catching all the chaff that a lot of others grew. And if it helps to say it was done without our knowing, it doesn't change the fact today it's up to me and you to be breaking bad habits, planting new seeds, breaking bad habits, raising fewer weeds. Do we look at what we're doing and ask, is this what this world needs? It's not too late for us to make a new tomorrow. Time has come to look at what we do today. If we can stop trying to take what's here to borrow, There might just be a chance for our kids to show the way to be breaking bad habits, planting new seeds, breaking bad habits, raising fewer weeds. Do we look at what we're doing and ask, is this what this world needs? Someone's gonna reap the crop we're sowing. We may be long gone, but it'll be growing. Out of breaking bad habits, breaking bad habits. We're all a part of an active evolution. The time has come to take the time to understand that feeling inside you is a spirit revolution. It's time to lay down your blame and lend your hand to be breaking bad habits, planting new seeds, breaking bad habits, or pulling out the weeds. And do we look at what we're doing and ask, is this what this world needs? We gotta look at what we're doing and ask, is this what this world needs? Just look at what we're doing and ask, is this what this world
Folge geworden. Ich möchte über 2 Schlüsseltechnologien sprechen, die ganz wesentlich sind und egal, was man, niemand von uns wäre bereit, solo als Möhre verkleidet hier durch die Gegend zu laufen. Ja? Aber in der Gruppe als Möhre geht das schon in Ordnung, ist richtig, ne? Ein Applaus für alle, die als Möhre rumlaufen. Also jeder andere würde sagen, machen wir nicht alleine lächerlich, aber kaum sind mehr als 3 Leute zusammen, geht das. Das heißt, es geht deswegen, weil das, was normalerweise dazu führt, dass man sich lächerlich macht, in der Gruppe dazu führt, dass es Spaß macht. Wenn Menschen sich ändern wollen, muss die Änderung Spaß machen. Habt ihr das verstanden? Ja! Das heißt, es reicht überhaupt nicht, gegen Monsanto zu sein. Man muss auch für etwas anderes sein. Das ist der entscheidende Punkt. Und Monsanto ist ja nur ein Beispiel. Ja? Mir ist Monsanto egal. Mir ist auch die Deutsche Bank egal. Mir sind auch die Atomlobby-Leute egal. Mir ist auch die Bundesregierung egal. Ich bin aus all diesen Dingen ausgestiegen, ohne auf eine politische Entscheidung zu warten. Man muss nicht darauf warten, dass Angela Merkel sagt, wir steigen aus der Atomenergie aus. Man kauft einfach keinen Atomstrom, Freunde. Man muss nicht darauf warten, dass Monsanto sagt, okay, wir bauen nur Scheiße, das wissen wir. Man kauft keine Produkte, wo Monsanto drin ist. Ganz einfach. Die Frage ist natürlich, wie weiß man das? Wie weiß man, wo Monsanto drin ist oder nicht drin ist? Dazu brauchen wir Massenmedien. Wir können uns auf die aktuellen Massenmedien absolut nicht mehr verlassen, denn die sind embedded. Das kommt aus dem Englischen und es heißt embed mit. Und wer dauernd im Bett ist, der pennt. Das muss einem klar sein. Einem muss aber auch klar sein, dass hinter diesem Embed-Sein ein System steckt. Keiner dieser Journalisten, der da draußen noch mit dem Presseausweis GEZ finanziert arbeitet, macht das, was er macht, gern, und die meisten wissen Bescheid, aber sie haben eben die nicht bezahlten BMW-Kombis. Sie haben eben die Doppelhaushälften und die Kinder auf den teuren Schulen. Und damit macht man sie erpressbar. Ich lebe ohne ein Defizit auf irgendeiner Bank. Ich bin auf einer richtigen Bank, bin bei der GLS-Bank. Die packt die Geld nicht in irgendwelche Rüstungskonzerne. Ja? Das heißt, da kriegt man dann auch keine Zinsen, aber ich brauche auch diese Arten von Zinsen überhaupt gar nicht, okay? So, damit sind wir auch schon bei den Massenmedien. Wir haben heute ein ganz, ganz wichtiges Tool in den Händen. Die meisten von euch haben es ja, ein Mobiltelefon. Und ich weiß nicht, ob euch der Name Marshall McLuhan irgendetwas sagt. Ja? Lest Bücher von Marshall McLuhan. Alles, was wir heute erleben, das hat er in den 40ern schon geschrieben. Das Internet ist eine digitale Atombombe. Das heißt, jeder kann sich schlau machen, der kann der Regierung, der kann den Politikern, der kann den Konzernen widersprechen. Und das muss Spaß machen. Es ist wie diese 2 Schaubilder, die vorgeben, dasselbe zu sein, und finde den Fehler. Ja? Die finden alles, was aus den Massenmedien rauskommt, auch was die Süddeutsche schreibt, was die Welt schreibt, was die Taz schreibt, sie alle machen Fehler, und ihr könnt diese Fehler nachweisen. Geht ins Internet und macht euch schlau und kommuniziert unter anderem mit diesen sozialen Netzwerken. Die Pandora, diese Büchse, sie ist offen und ihr werdet sie nie wieder zubekommen. Alles, was ihr tun müsst, ihr müsst vernetzt arbeiten und ihr müsst aufhören, euch steuern zu lassen durch ein ganz, ganz wesentliches Tool. Man spricht euch nämlich ab, dass es ohne Atomlobby nicht geht, ohne die großen Energiebetreiber, dass es ohne Monsanto nicht geht, dass es ohne die Deutsche Bank nicht geht, und das stimmt ja gar nicht. Das heißt, das Erste, was ihr verlieren müsst, ist die Angst davor, dass es eine Alternative gibt. Damit macht man euch fertig. Man jagt euch Angst ein, und deswegen, ich nenne jetzt mal einen Namen und ihr fangt einfach an zu lachen. Ihr müsst einfach diesen Nimbus wegnehmen, ihr müsst die lächerlich machen. Ich sag den Namen und ihr müsst einfach drüber lachen. Ich sag mal Monsanto!